Before we get into the podcast, let's get through the rigmarole first. Remember, guys, this podcast posts each and every single Saturday. The first segment of the show, we go through all the NFL news you need to know about. The second segment of the show, we preview all the NFL games of that week. And the third and final segment of the show, we do a rookie watch, where we rank all the rookies so far in the season. We literally go through every single rookie. But those last two segments, those won't start until the NFL season starts. So when preseason starts, we'll do it too. So let's get into the NFL news you need to know about. This first story sucks if you're a Falcons fan. Devin Fuller has torn his ACL, which is unfortunate. This first in-depth news story, Alec Ogletree extension in the works. So we're going to get into this one. Alec Ogletree, if you don't know, the Rams middle linebacker, one of the best 3-4 linebackers in the NFL. Super underrated guy, deserves a whole lot more pro. I mean, he's in the NFC, so he's got to get through Luke Kuechly and Bobby Wagner to get all-pro, first-team all-pro at least, so that's going to be pretty hard. The title of the article, Alec Ogletree extension in the works. This article is by Connor Bryan of Pro Football Rumors. The Rams' best player, defensive tackle Aaron Donald, is holding out as he seeks a new contract, but the news isn't all that bad. The team is working to lock up one of its other top defenders, linebacker Alec Ogletree. The Rams have had interest in awarding a new deal to Ogletree since at least February 2016, and its extensive team control over him is likely a key reason why it hasn't happened. The control is running out, though, as Ogletree is now in his fifth-year option. It's crazy that in his fifth-year option. As such, the Rams are in danger of losing the 2013 first-round pick to free agency next winter. Ogletree's exit would cost Los Angeles one of its go-to guys, someone who has started in all 16 games in 2016 and was the only of its defenders to play all 1,000 of the unit snaps in the process. The ex-Georgia Bulldog piled up impressive counting stats, 136 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. Though Pro Football Focus ranked his performance a lackluster 56th among 86 qualified linebackers, with the exception of his rookie season, Pro Football Focus has typically assigned unfavorable marks to Ogletree. Nevertheless, aside from missing 12 games with a broken fibula in 2015, Ogletree is someone on whom the Rams have been able to rely on. The 25-year-old has 3 16-start, 100-plus tackle campaigns, 11 forced fumbles, and 5 interceptions under his belt, and the team apparently doesn't want that type of production to get away. The whole Pro Football Focus thing, obviously they should lock him up for a long-term deal. I think Alec Ogletree, again, he's a tremendous leader. A lot of people don't know that. He's the only leader in that Rams defense, which is full of young, talented guys. But anyway, Alec Ogletree, he's a great middle linebacker. The whole Pro Football Focus thing, where he's like, oh, he ranks this low on the thing. All of it's based off of analytics. And their grade system, but just if you know football and just watch this kid play, it's hard not to make him he is definitely not, and he is not the 56th best linebacker in the league. He is definitely a top 8 linebacker in the NFL. So yeah, Alec Ogletree definitely deserves his money. Let him go. I mean, my God, do you know how many teams would kill to have him on their football team? Super talented player. So Cowboys are going to sign Luke McCown for insurance. Ravens are interested in Austin Howard. Some of the little news stories there. This is a really interesting story. Donald Penn seeking top 10 left tackle money. So let's get into this. I'll let you know what I think about Donald Penn after we read the report here. I think this is really weird. Donald Penn seeking top 10 left tackle money. This article is by Connor Bryan of Pro Football Rumors. Currently 21st among left tackles in yearly contract value, the Raiders' Donald Penn is holding out in hopes of landing a raise. No thanks to retired linebacker and current NFL Network analyst Willie McGinnis. There's some clarity on Penn's demands. Penn spoke to McGinnis about his asking price, and McGinnis relayed via some San Francisco Chronicle on Twitter that the lineman, quote, wants to be paid in the top 10. He's not looking to be the top paid, but he wants to be in the top 10. To break the top 10 among left tackles in annual pay, Penn would need upwards of $11 million a year that the Rams' Andrew Whitworth is earning on the 3-year pact he signed in free agency. Penn, 34, is a is a year younger than Whitworth, and there is a strong case to be made that the former excuse me, deserves similar money, like Whitworth, who has appeared in 168 of possible 176 regular season games and been extremely effective in the process. Penn has made an eminently durable stalwart. So yeah, Donald Penn is has his Pro Football Focus ranking here. Pro Football Focus, which ranked his performance 12th among 76 qualified tackles in 2016. First of all, if you're Donald Penn, you're 34 years old and you play on the offensive line. If you play on the defensive line or the offensive line, or you happen to be a running back, those are very physically way more physically demanding than being a quarterback or a receiver. It's not even close. Your body takes you literally get hit every single play. So you're not going to last as long. So I wouldn't expect him to get that contract, nor do I think he deserves it. I mean, obviously, if you want to bump him up to, I guess, top 15, I don't know why the Rams paid Andrew Whitworth all that money. He's old as dirt too. So interesting. I don't think the Raiders are going to do it though. Big Ben Roethlisberger could retire in 2017. This is by Connor Bryan. The Steelers and their fans should savor the 2017 season because it could prove to be the end of the line for Big Ben. The future Hall of Fame quarterback told Ed Bowe of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette that he may retire after this season. Roethlisberger also revealed that his wife wants to call it a career sooner rather than later. I think this is hang on. Okay, here we go. The 35-year-old Roethlisberger mulled retirement after last season, so it's not surprising that it's on the table for 2018. Interesting, though, it seems a recent study heavily linking football players to the CTE is influencing the 14th-year man's thinking. Roethlisberger noted that being healthy and being able to play catch with my kids is important. Obviously. Excuse me there, I had to burp. The study actually found CTEs in 99% of deceased NFL players that were donated to scientific research, which played a part in former Ravens center John Herschel's decision to hang up the cleats Thursday at the age of 26. If Roethlisberger joins Herschel in retirement next year, it would mark the end of a fruitful Steelers football career. Since using a first-round pick on Roethlisberger in 2004, the Steelers have made 9 trips to the playoffs and racked up 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 of which ended with them raising the Lombardi Trophy. Roethlisberger has been the driving force behind the success, and now he's coming off the season in which he earned his 5th Pro Bowl nod. He's appeared in 14 games for the 11-win club last year and threw 29 touchdowns against 13 interceptions. The Steelers made it their 5th AFC title game of Roethlisberger's tenure, but the Patriots have vanquished them 36-17. Interesting stuff. I think as NFL fans, you don't want Big Ben to retire. It's hard to believe it's only been 14 seasons that he's played in the NFL. Obviously, comparing that to somebody like Dan Marino, who played 17 years in the NFL, and I think Peyton played 18 years. So that would be kind of short if you think about it. I think Brady's boy. This would be his 18th year. I'm pretty sure, or 19th, or maybe it was 17th. I don't know. Brady came in the league in 2000. 2000, I think, or 1999. I can't remember. So yeah, it would be a short career for Big Ben, which would be unfortunate. I don't know. It sucks. I mean, it's good if you're a fan of like the Jaguars or any other AFC team like the Titans. That opens up another spot for you. Maybe if you're a fan of the Cleveland Browns. So I guess that would be the only scenario I could see where fans would be happy about that. But it sucks losing a Hall of Famer like that, who's been that impactful on the NFL. All right, let's see here. This sucks for Broncos fans. Broncos Shane Ray out between 6 to 8 weeks, which sucks because they're counting on him to be the next DeMarcus Ware to Von Miller, and he had a really good season last year when he finally got playing time, and I think that really led to DeMarcus Ware's retirement. But Shane Ray should have a really good season this upcoming season, especially now that Vance Joseph's their head coach. But this is by Connor Bryan. The Broncos have lost pass rusher Shane Ray for 6 to 8 weeks on account of a torn ligament in his left wrist. So that's unfortunate. The 24-year-old Ray is the second notable Broncos linebacker to land on the shelf, joining Shaquille Barrett, who has also been injured. So that they're just losing people left and right. So hang on, the Broncos over the people can they still have the no-fly zone. They still have Aqib Talib. They still have their T.J. Ward and Chris Harris and Bradley Roby, who's a super underrated guy. Their secondary is still really good, but their front seven, Brandon Marshall can't stay healthy. Their interior, Derek Wolfe is pretty good, but he can't stay healthy. But when they lost Malik Jackson, they have not been able to stop the run. So that's something to keep your eye on. I think the Broncos are worse than they even were a year ago, which is kind of crazy to say. Obviously, they got Ronald Leary. They're hoping that can help their pass protection. But again, he's an interior player. He's not a tackle, and that's where they've really struggled is in with the tackle positions. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can withhold in an AFC West where the Broncos offensive line is going to have to block Justin Houston, Dee Ford, Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin, Melvin Ingram, Joey Bosa. Those are some seriously good, talented people. And if you don't have a good offensive line in that division, you're not going anywhere. So, interesting stuff. Raiders and Gary and Conley finally agreed to a deal. That's been forever now. Perel McPhee is going to undergo knee surgery. This is hilarious to me. The Cowboys are likely to sign another quarterback, which they ended up signing Luke McCown, but Colin Kaepernick is still out there. Now, whether Colin Kaepernick would want to be a backup to Dak Prescott's a whole other story, but the saga continues with Colin Kaepernick. The Browns and Isaiah Crowell are discussing an extension. Isaiah Crowell is a super talented running back. He had a really good season last year. He led the AFC in rushing yards for a while, and then his production dipped off as injuries really hit the Browns offensive line. So it's not his fault, but I would expect him to have another really good year this upcoming season in Hugh Jackson's offense. Cowboys defensive end Damontre Moore is suspended. Damontre Moore has been an absolute disappointment since being drafted. He was a first-round pick by the Giants. I'm pretty sure he was a Miami Dolphin for a while, which is the team I follow. Over Hand and Fist it's my team. Meaning I'm a fan. If everybody who's listening to this who knows you're probably a Dolphins fan. But anyway, he was disappointment. He was as dominant as Myles Garrett was at Texas A&M, and it just didn't turn out. I don't know what happened to him, man. He was super talented. Vikings offered extension to Xavier Rhodes, which is good. This is great news for 49ers fans, and it just it solidifies what John Lynch did for you guys. 49ers linebacker Reuben Foster has been medically cleared, which is great news for you guys. Obviously, there's that shoulder hullabaloo, and now that's all. He's been medically cleared to play. Raiders offensive tackle Donald Penn, which we just discussed earlier in the show, is going to hold out for that contract. So there you go. Eagles, Michael Kendricks requested trade. This is really interesting. If you don't know who he is, he's a great coverage linebacker, and he's been a big part of why the Eagles defense has been one of the better defenses in the NFL now, especially since they switched to a 4-3. This is really interesting stuff. He's a great linebacker, so let's get into this. This article is by Dallas Robinson of Pro Football Rumors. The Eagles have been reportedly. Well, this doesn't make any sense. Have reportedly been shopping. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, the Eagles have reportedly been shopping Kendricks for several years, and Kendricks himself, Kendricks himself asked to be traded, or at least in January, as Kendricks told reporters, including Jeff McLean of the Philadelphia Inquirer, that Kendricks isn't expected to see a larger role on defense in 2017, and therefore has been dismissed the possibility that he could still be dealt. Per Zach Berman of the Philadelphia Inquirer. However, Eagles head coach Doug Peterson said in March that he expected Kendricks to remain on Philadelphia's roster for the upcoming campaign. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm burping so much. When asked if he would have agreed to an extension had he known his playing time would subsequently be reduced, Kendricks indicated he'd plead the fifth. This is reported by Berman. Philadelphia had placed Kendricks on the trade block as far back as 2015, but the club was reportedly actively shopping him this offseason. The Eagles were looking for a fifth-round pick in exchange for Kendricks. Oh yeah, this was a huge rumor in this year's draft. But no team was willing to meet that after he asked. Well, he's under contract, and it would cost the team $4 million for Kendricks, a base salary of $4 million. So that's the biggest reason why he wasn't traded. Kendricks, 26, is signed through the 2019 campaign thanks to an extension inked in 2015. A full-time starter during his first 4 seasons with the Eagles, Kendricks was largely relegated to reserve role in 2016 as he played only a quarter of Philadelphia's defensive snaps in that span. He racked up 20 tackles, a fumble recovery, and earned positive marks for his run defense and pass rushing ability from Pro Football Focus. Kendricks' coverage grade of 47.7, however, was lacking. Kendricks, really good linebacker. Really good career. His brother Eric Kendricks is really good as well for the Minnesota Vikings. Both, I think they're super athletic, and if you run a 3-4, I would expect him to be. Obviously, durability is an issue, but again, super talented guy. Would not be surprised if he got traded. But again, I don't know. Maybe I don't think any team's gonna be willing to give up. Will pay him $4 million annually unless when he was traded he took a pay cut. So yeah, that's something to keep your eye on. If you're a linebacker needy team, you need a linebacker, there you go. Go out and trade for Kendricks, who, again, super talented player. Alright, let's move on. Aaron Donald he's still going to hold out. So that's no update. I mean, we've been talking about that forever now. The 49ers have signed their first round pick, Solomon Thomas. Cardinals sign linebacker Philip Wheeler. Philip Wheeler is he is a 3-4 linebacker, but my God, he is terrible in coverage. For the Lord, Broncos are going to sign running back Stephen Ridley. Stephen Ridley, interesting player, super talented, shown flashes of greatness. Put the ball on the ground too many times. Not flashes of greatness, but at least flashes of being like a good, solid running back. But I don't know whatever happened to him. Ever since Bill Belichick yelled at him, he's never been the same. Saints sign offensive lineman Orlando Franklin. That is a no-brainer move, especially if you're the Saints, because you lost, obviously, Teron Armstead. Orlando Franklin has played tackle in his career, so that naturally makes sense. Orlando Franklin last year had a terrible season, though, so shaky ground for Saints fans. Shaky ground. And when people talk about the Saints, I don't ever hear anybody say that. Like their offensive offensive line is bad. So I'm sorry, but it's bad. Like I don't know. I just never hear anybody, because everybody's like, oh, they have potential to make the playoffs. I'm like, not with that offensive line. They know. Steelers Villanueva agreed to an extension. So yeah, Charlie Villanueva, he's a pretty dang good tackle. Let's see here. Cardinals are going to meet with cornerback Tramon Williams. Dear God, do you know how Tramon Williams seems like he's been in the league for many years. Ravens are interested in Colin Kaepernick. Let's get into this. This is interesting news to me, at least. Hopefully it is interesting to you. I think people have talked about this for the past week, so I'm not going to even, maybe we won't get into it. John Harbaugh, he says yeah, whatever, Colin Kaepernick, blah, 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 blah. I mean, Joe Flacco, in his defense, Joe Flacco has obviously been injured. He's had injuries in his past, obviously, towards ACL that one year. So it wouldn't be a bad idea. I do kind of want to see Colin Kaepernick be a Jaguar, though. If there was one team I would love to see him be on, it would be the Jaguars, because I think that would be an exciting team to watch. And I think he would bring... Colin Kaepernick does not turn the ball over. He's a super smart player. He's accurate. more accurate than Blake Bortles, and he doesn't turn the ball over. He didn't even play the entire season last year. I think he missed the first quarter of the season, and he had a great year. I mean, statistically at least, he had 16 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions, which is insanely good. The Saints don't expect Nick Fairley to return. The Jets have claimed wide receiver Lucky Whitehead, which is crazy, that whole situation, and he finally finds a home with the New York Jets. The Vikings are going to sign Everson Griffin to an extension. Super underrated player, Everson Griffin. Pretty dominant. And the Minnesota Vikings, people, they went 8-8 last year. I think they won, 5 in a row and to start the year. And that defense looked so good. And then, obviously, their offensive line got banged up, and Sam Bradford got exposed. And it was pretty sad to watch. That offense was so sad to watch. If you guys watched the Thanksgiving game, was pretty fun, but their offense was just gross. Let's see here. Panthers signed wide receiver Trevor Graham. Ravens Kenneth Dixon to miss the 2017 season. That is the Ravens are dealing with injuries left and right. Obviously I said John Herschel retired. The Saints place linebacker Donnell Ellerby on IR. Cowboys agree to an extension with La'el Collins, one of the biggest steals. He was obviously getting, if you don't know, he was getting investigated for a murder or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure it was a murder investigation. But he was he was one of the suspects, and that caused him not to be drafted. I really do believe he would have been a Dolphin if that didn't happen. So let's see here. Jets host Orlando Franklin on visit. Obviously, I don't know why I just said that. We just reported that he was signed with the New Orleans Saints. Let's see here. Andrew Hawkins retires from the NFL. All right, this is some injury news, and this article is by Dallas Robinson of Pro Football Rumors. Broncos quarterback Chad Kelly will likely spend his rookie season on injured reserve. The Denver Post, who indicates 2017 will be something of a redshirt campaign of Kelly. This year, Mr. Irrelevant Kelly is currently on the non-football injury list after undergoing wrist surgery in April. With Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch set to act as Denver's top 2 quarterbacks, Kelly wouldn't have played a role in the season anyway, so the Broncos would rather not waste a roster spot. Denver will likely wait until the final cutdowns to move Kelly to IR, or else risking losing him to waivers. Chad Kelly, super talented guy, obviously troubles off the field. Probably the most talented Mr. Irrelevant in NFL history. Chargers first-round pick Mike Williams said last weekend that he expects to avoid surgery on his ailing back. That's terrible. The Bulls are also optimistic that that will be the case, according to Eric D. Williams of ESPN.com, who notes that Mike Williams will likely begin training camp on the physically unable to perform list. That wouldn't necessarily rule out the ex-Clemson Tiger for regular season action. However, as the team hopes, is that he'll be able to return during camp to work his way back in for week 1. General manager Tom Telesa revealed that the wideout has, quote, been responding well to treatment. I mean, maybe you want to send him out for a year and get him surgery so this doesn't happen again. We saw this with J.J. Watt. That's nothing to mess with. Alteron Werner, 1-year deal with the Dolphins, is a minimum salary benefit pact and doesn't contain any guaranteed money. According to Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, as such, Werner will earn $900K if he earns a roster spot on Miami's roster, but will only count for $615K against the cap club salary. The veteran defensive back is expected to be given every opportunity to displace Bobby McCain as the Dolphins' slot corner, but it's also possible that Werner will fail to make the squad at all. In 2016, Werner appeared in all 60 games for the Tampa Bay, but only played 22.8% of the snaps. So there you go. Even after signing veteran Bobby Rainey earlier this week, the Ravens may not be done adding running back help. Baltimore's running game was already among the league's worst in 2016, ranking 24th in DVOA and 25th in yards. And now is without Kenneth Dixon, who will miss the entire season after undergoing meniscus surgery. Terrence West, Danny Woodhead, and Lawrence Telefaro and Rainey are still on the roster, but the Ravens could consider free agent signings or trades as such for another back. Who tosses out? They could sign Ryan Matthews, Alfred Morris, Matt Jones, and Carlos Hyde as potential options. Carlos Hyde. How the heck you're going to get Carlos Hyde? He's a super talented guy. gonna have to give up a lot for him. Texans receiver. Let's see. Texas. Okay, that's nothing. All right. Well, I think that's all the news for this week. Pretty slow news stories. Obviously, if you didn't hear about the whole Le'Veon Bell thing, I'm sure everybody's heard about, and we kind of got into more of the other details. If you heard about, yeah, well, you probably already heard all about that. Anyway, I think we got all the news. I wanna that you see that voice crack. What was I gonna say? I wanna do here's some rookies that I need you guys to watch this preseason, and let me know what you think. I'm thinking never mind, scratch that. Here are my offensive rookie of the so far. This is my offensive rookie of the year. Let me know what you guys think about this. I think Christian McCaffrey is gonna get it. I think it's gonna be between him and Dalvin Cook. I think those are my two. I think my third, if I had to pick, man, O.J. Howard for the Buccaneers. I think those will be my top three, but I think Christian McCaffrey is going to end up taking it. And my defensive rookie of the year, I think my top three, because the defensive draft was obviously stacked with talent. So, my defensive rookies, probably, I'm going to be biased, but I'm going to say it. I think Charles Harris is definitely going to be in contention, and I actually have him winning it. And that you guys might say that's biased or whatever, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's going to happen. I think Jonathan Allen's going to be in there. I don't think I guess Myles Garrett. And I think we're going to add one more. Jamal Adams. Those are going to be my four. But I think Charles Harris is going to end up taking it. Maybe, I don't think Hassan Reddick's going to be in there because I think he's not going to get as much playing time. But yeah. We could, I don't know. What else could we do? Is that it? Seems like a short podcast, but I was going to do go through all the NFL teams and predict, but I'm not going to do any of that. You know how I feel about predictions. Anyway, that has been your NFL podcast for this week. I can't wait for the season to start so we can add those two segments. Make your bets now. Who's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year? Who's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year? There's so many to choose from defensive. Like, you could go anywhere. There's so many, Malik Hooker, Marshawn Lattimore, linebackers-wise, Reuben Foster. Scratch that. Here's my top three. Reuben Foster, Charles Harris, Solomon Thomas, Jamal Adams is in there. That's probably it. I mean, I could say Myles Garrett. You could throw him in there, too. There's so many to choose from. But, yeah, I think Charles Harris is going to win it. And, it's biased. You're Dolphins fan. Listen, I truly believe that. So far, if you guys have been following training camp, which I will do a recap of this today, if in case you're worried about that. Of course, I'm doing a recap every single day. But anyway, Charles Harris had a monster training camp today. So, yeah. So that is going to be it, guys. Remember, guys, this podcast posts each and every single Saturday. We give you all the NFL news you need to know about. Second segment, we preview all the NFL games. Third segment, we do a rookie watch, and we rank all the rookies based on the season they're having. And I am SkyExtra83. Let me know who you think is going to win Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year, and I'll see you guys in the next one.